Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another fantastic episode of TerrorCrave. We are your hosts for the evening. I am Lee, and I'm here with my man Jason. What's up, Jason?
What's happening, Lee? I'm doing good, man. I survived the snowpocalypse, and I'm ready for Armageddon, the snowpocalypse 2, or whatever you want to call it, coming up this weekend.
Word on the street is that there is another snowstorm happening on, what is it, Sunday? Is that when it's
Yeah,
supposed to be going
yeah,
down?
yeah.
Do you
Well,
think it's going to happen?
I don't know, man. I don't know, because we did the read through the other night for our upcoming movie, and a couple of the actors said that we were supposed to get like 30 inches of snow, and I said, "You're crazy, man. You're crazy." So I looked at my weather app, and it didn't really show anything. And then I saw I think it was yesterday, I saw maybe 1 to 3 inches, and now it's up to like 10 to 12, 10 to 16 inches or something. I'm like, damn,
Goodness.
maybe whatever they saw was right. I don't know.
You know what? If it does go down, I've probably said on the show here in the past, if it's going to be cold, then give me some snow. If it's going to be cold, just to be cold with nothing on the ground and you're just like terrible and this hurts your bones, to me, that's
Yeah,
not fun. You know what I mean? But if there's some snow out there on the ground, it just makes everything a little bit more
I
just
don't know, man.
relaxed and silent,
Snow means
quiet.
shoveling the driveway, cleaning the cars off, and
Well,
you
there's
know,
that.
taking the
Yeah.
dog out, and he can't find anywhere to use the bathroom for like 4 hours. So I don't know.
It's
I don't want the
that sounds
cold
like
anyway,
someone
but
that sounds like someone who was trapped at home for a week during the
that was me. That
apocalypse.
was me. Just go, Henry. Just go. Yeah, he couldn't find his
oh,
spot.
well, that okay. You frame it that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds a little bit on the unpleasant note, but still, like I said, I like the snow. It's just something I've always enjoyed. So anyway, if it happens, it happens. And if it does, you guys, you'll have some fantastic movies to watch because, as you know,
Yeah,
we've got a lot of good stuff on BT Haunts. Check it out. Check it out. Lots of good flicks, lots of good films and videos. So,
yeah,
all right. And also a couple episodes of us too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They're not bad either.
Not too shabby. Come see, come saw. But yeah, no, listen. So this episode, we're going to discuss, we talked about this before. Jason and I are going to share some of our favorite horror directors. For me, what this means, that it goes back to when I was growing up in the horror heyday in the 80s, right? If there was
Yeah, man.
somebody's name above that title of that horror film, then you knew you were in for a good time. You know what I mean? Walking around the video store
Yeah,
or wherever it might be, looking at those VHS tapes. If you saw that man's name above a title, you were going to
it's
have
gonna
some
be
fun
good.
that night. Yeah,
True.
exactly. What's a good horror director to you, man? What does that mean to you?
Um, I think it's someone that they can get what the screenwriter has imagined to come to reality. There's certain things, as you know, with when I write a movie, there's certain things that have to be said a certain way, or maybe there's a certain movement that you want to happen. Well, you know yourself, Lee, as you know, because you're in all my movies because you're a good man. Um, there, I'll let my actors ad lib a lot, but there are certain phrases that I want said a certain way, and I can, with me being the screenwriter, I know that, but with a director, they don't always know that. But you know, I'm sure they're always communicating with the screenwriters, and
Yeah.
even if it was something written by Stephen King, they'll maybe communicate with the writer too, just say, hey, what did you mean by this? But
Yeah.
there are certain ones that they don't need any help at all. They've read this, and they see the same thing that the screenwriter saw, and it just comes out perfect, man. And
Yeah.
I like reality. You know, the more real it is to me, the better it is. That's what I like in a horror movie. You know,
Mhm.
that's why I think I lean towards more of the gore stuff than like you do. I like the reality of it. The more realistic it is. But then again, I like the fun over top stuff too. You know, when a
Yeah.
hand gets cut off and the blood's just steady squirting up for 5 minutes, something like
Right.
that. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of, I think the director, if he can get what the screenwriter has imagined, I said that's the way that I like it.
Well, there you go. Awesome. Well, it's good. I just want to hear your perspective on that, man. As you know, my director in the films that we've been in, and you're doing a great job as well. So exactly what what inspired you. For me, man, it's somebody. I'm gonna keep it short. It's just somebody who can create that sense of dread and
Yeah.
tension. And you know what I mean, while you're watching it, and that exhilarating feeling, and takes you on a ride. You know what I mean? They kind of take you on a ride, a thrill ride. That's and it also has that the sense, and this is part of the screenwriting too, but exactly how to set it up and direct it. That sense of uh, know when to break the tension.
Right.
Also, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Perfect
With a little
timing.
bit of yeah,
Yeah.
you know. So it's just something that's what it is for me. And I guess we'll just jump into this, man. But I'm gonna let you go, kick it off. Who's your one of your on your list now? This is not in any particular order, guys. We're not, maybe we'll share our favorite one here at the end.
Yeah.
But right now we're just talking about some guys that have, you know, some work we've admired and really enjoyed throughout the years.
Well, I guess I couldn't sit here and not say Toby Hooper. I mean, there's no way I couldn't mention him in this at all. I mean, the Texas
Hmm.
Chainsaw Massacre. He also did part two, but won't hold that against. But the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and one of my personal favorite movies that if it's on, I'm going to watch it. Poltergeist, man.
Yes.
And I don't know if sometimes the horror movies that I like, I don't know if I would put Poltergeist in that list, but then again, I feel like I have to. It is about ghosts and poltergeist, and
Yeah.
it does have some scary parts in it, and it's just a classic, man. And I really I like Toby Hooper. I like the way that he did it. I love the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I know that there was something he didn't get along with Steven Spielberg during Poltergeist, the
Right.
filming of that,
Yeah.
and I can see that. I can understand why they would butt heads on something like that, but either way, it was a great movie. So Toby Hooper, man, I had to mention him.
All right. I'll say that. I'll be honest. He's not on my list. Although he definitely did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was a classic horror film.
Yeah,
100% agree with that. And Poltergeist, which is a scary movie to me. I mean, definitely there's some scenes in that that still kind of trip me out to this day. But and I mean, it's also one of the movies that created the PG-13 rating. I mean,
yeah,
it was that scary, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah, I definitely get why he's on the list. Um, uh, he did some great stuff, man. He did a lot of good stuff. So all right, cool, man. Good choice. Good choice on that one.
Thank you.
For me, I'm going to kick it off with someone who I alluded to here in the very beginning, because in the '80s specifically, '70s and '80s specifically, if you saw this guy's name, and he was one of the first directors that you really saw doing this, I'm talking about John Carpenter, and
Oh
there was
yeah,
somebody John Carpenter's Halloween, John
yeah,
Carpenter's The Thing, you know, uh, John Carpenter's Escape from New York, not really a horror, but still a great classic thriller in its own right. Prince of Darkness.
yeah,
To me, that was The Fog. He had such a great catalog of films in the '80s and late '70s of horror, and he was guaranteed if his name was above it. Prince of Darkness. Oh, that was a really good movie. I
yeah.
mean, do you remember that one?
Yeah, and I will say about John Carpenter too is um he's a name that's up there. If you think about horror in the 70s, 80s, even into the 90s, and you're going to think about um Carpenter, you'll think about King, any name like Tom Savini, even. I mean, and not saying that they're directors, but you knew Tom Savini from the special effects, the makeup,
Yeah,
and Stephen King was a writer, and you would see like Stephen King's name, like you're saying with John Carpenter, to sell that movie even more, they would put Stephen King there because that name was known for horror. And it's the same
yeah,
way with John Carpenter. They put his name at the top because you knew, like you said, if that name's there on that box at the
yeah,
video store,
yeah.
it was worth renting.
It was, and I will say, much like you alluded to, Toby Hooper kind of went off kilter with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I will say in the '90s, I am not much of a fan of John Carpenter's work. I think in the 90s, I mean, for instance, Village of the Damned, In the Mouth of Madness, Vampires, to
Yeah.
me, and I was, as I was thinking about it, I was like, maybe I could go back and revisit Vampires. I'll think differently of it now. But when I saw that back in 1998,
Oh, I
whatever
like
it
that.
was,
I liked Vampires with the
with
guys
James
going to
Woods.
yeah, I like that, man.
Yeah.
I thought that was
So maybe
good.
I need
Now,
to maybe I
Village
need
of
to
the Damned,
revisit that.
that's the kids.
Yeah, that was the kids, the
Yeah, it
creepy
wasn't much on
kids.
that. Yeah.
And then In the Mouth of Madness, maybe that was good, but I just was weird movie to
Oh,
me. Sutter Kane.
yeah.
It was anyway. It had Sam Neill in it. Sorry, not Sam Jones, not Flash Gordon. Sam Neill. But anyway, not to his '90s run. I mentioned those movies to say his '90s run wasn't that great, but the ones in the '80s he did were fantastic, man. So that's why
Yeah,
he's on my list. He definitely
definitely,
has those
man.
classics. Halloween thing, Prince of Darkness, Fog, all those alone.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Now, when I think about suspense, and like you were just saying, the twists and the turns, a name that comes to mind for me is M. Night Shyamalan.
Okay.
And maybe you put him more as thriller than horror, but
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about like The Sixth Sense, come on, man,
Yeah.
who knew that Bruce Willis was dead? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then you
I
got
know.
the Village, Signs. I thought Signs was a great movie, man. Just so many on his list, but there's a bunch of them that you probably haven't heard of, but he did them. But man, I really like it. I like the way that he directs it, and that's I like that he does little cameos too. You know,
Yes, he does the Hitchcock. Or because Alfred Hitchcock always did a little cameo or a
yeah,
walkthrough, or
yeah,
the
or
camera would
Stephen
pass by
King.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that was no, I do like his little cameos that he has in there. You're right. And you're forgetting one though. If you're gonna mention him, man, you can't forget one of the most terrible, The Visit.
oh yeah, man,
You
yeah.
know,
Well,
that
then you
was The
get
Visit.
into Unbreakable
Yeah,
and what is it, Split?
yeah, Split was another good.
Which those are kind of not really horror, but I mean, for directors, man, this dude's great. I
Yeah,
really look
no, he
forward.
is.
That's a name. If I see it, I want to check the movie out.
Have you checked out Old yet?
No, I don't. I know that's just probably getting to like streaming platform stuff, but I haven't seen it. Have you
I
seen
haven't
that yet?
watched it. Not yet, no, but I know that was his most recent one,
It
so I
looks
was just
good though.
curious.
It
It
looks
does.
good.
Looks a little crazy for sure.
Yeah,
No, M Night's a great choice, man. I've loved a lot of his films for sure, and they're all. I love little twists that he always has there. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, Another one that I'm going to throw up here on my list, man, is somebody who it has really put together some really terrifying movies to me. Alejandro Aja, I believe is how you pronounce the name. He's done High Tension, Hills Have Eyes, the
yeah,
remake, which, funny enough, another director who I'll mention did the original Hills Have Eyes. So, but he did the one that came out in 2005 or 2006,
yeah.
whatever it was,
Which I
was
thought was
just
great.
it was great, man. I saw that in the theater, and I just remember people like really tripping out, popcorn spilling, sodas, people like
Yeah,
it was
I bet the
all over the place. It was good. It was
when the
good.
father got killed in that, all I could think of was like, I bet he needs some lotion.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Give me some lotion.
There you
Because
go. So
but
good.
yeah, if you haven't seen
Silence of
that,
the
though,
Lambs,
yeah,
indeed.
Silence of Man.
Buffalo Bill, whatever his
Sorry, that
name
was a
was.
terrible
I,
joke.
it was good though. I got it. But he also did Piranha. The remake of Piranha, which I thought was definitely pretty entertaining. That was definitely
3D?
had a lot of comedy. Yeah, I did Piranha 3D.
Yeah,
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 so he's done some great horrors. He's somebody who I know if his name again, is
yeah,
associated with that movie, it's gonna be a good flick. Um,
sure.
what do you think about him?
Oh, I like him. I like the movies, man. I like all of them. I think they're great movies. Um, I I will say one for me that stands out too is Eli Roth.
Yes, he was
Um,
in Piranha.
yeah,
He did
well, yeah,
the
that's what made I just
yeah,
thought about that and I was like, huh. But Hostel, man, like when I say I like reality,
yeah,
man, that's something that could happen. Like really, it could happen. Kids going over to
yeah,
Amsterdam party and then end up being the
yeah.
fantasy of some old crazy businessman to chop them up.
So
Who
true.
knows? But yeah, Eli Roth, man.
No, he's great choice, man. I remember when I saw Cabin Fever.
Yeah.
And what I like about Eli Roth is that even Hostel, even though that was as you guys know, I'm not a huge torture porn, as what they used to call it. You know what I mean? Horror guy. I'm just not. That's just not my bag. You know what I mean? I'm more into the suspense and the scares and stuff. But anyway, I did. That's Eli Roth specialized in that at one point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
Hostel and Hostel 2. And even Cabin Fever had some body horror in it, but it wasn't torture. But what I like about him is that he's also very funny.
Yes.
I mean, his Hostel, yes, was some horrible stuff going down, but it was like almost a little comedy in the very beginning with those two guys. You know what I mean? And on their trip, and it was some really good laughs in that. You know,
Well, what about
before the
the
craziness goes down.
albino karate guy or karate kid in Cabin
Cabin
Fever?
Fever, yeah,
Yeah. Wasn't like why is that even in the movie? It was just funny, you know what I mean?
yeah. Or hey, party
Why
man, the sheriff. You know, hey, party man. Hey,
Yeah.
that guy who kept rolling up to the camp. So, I do appreciate that about him. But he also did has produced some really good stuff too. You know what I mean? I say that and I can't even think of anything right now that he's produced.
Well, he
But
was in Quentin Tarantino's movie, The Army, dag on it. Inglorious
Inglorious
Bastards.
Bastards.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
in that too.
Yes, he did.
So,
Um,
and played like a part that was so serious that it was almost funny, that you know what I mean?
oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. He's as a producer, he's done, what Green Inferno, or maybe even actually directed Green Inferno, which is about that cannibal movie when those
Yes.
kids
Yep.
crashed the
Green Inferno.
rainforest.
Yep.
I think he's did that, and there was something else that he's done. Knock Knock
Oh
with
yeah.
Keanu
Yeah,
Reeves,
I like
which
that.
was a
I
crazy
thought that was good.
movie. Yeah, it was. Aftershock. I don't know if you ever saw that one about the earthquake in Chile, I believe, and that was actually a pretty good movie too,
I don't know
and
if I saw
just
that one. I may have.
crazy. Yeah, so no, so great choice there with Eli Roth. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like him. Um, Somebody else to gonna throw out here to you, man. I'm gonna go back. I'm kind of got a little mix of classic directors and then some newer directors. But I'm gonna go back in the day here with this one, Wes Craven. I
Oh yeah,
mean,
man.
you can't leave him off the list, right? I mean, they made a stamp with two fantastic horror films, Nightmare on Elm Street,
Yeah.
of course, and with Freddy, I mean, he's lasted throughout the years. He is right up there, and I'll use your phrase, on the Mount Rushmore of
Yeah,
classic horror
definitely.
guys. It's him, Jason, Michael, and Leatherface. I want to make sure I got your list correct. Is that right? Is that
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the Mount Rushmore. Okay.
Yeah.
That's and Freddie right up there has earned that spot. Um, Also Scream.
Oh, of course.
He did the Scream movies when the horror films were pretty much dying. He reinvented them and got them all energized again with Scream. They were pretty much done in
Yeah.
theaters, and then Scream came out and it was great. And here we have another Scream coming out. He made a stamp in some great films that have lasted 20 over 20 years, with sequels and people still loving the
Yeah.
characters that were created that he helped create.
Well,
You know?
everybody loves Freddy, and I'm
Yeah.
wondering if they're going to pay some kind of homage to him in this new movie.
I'm
I
sure
would
there'll be
almost
some.
think so.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure there will be. And Wes Craven also did The Hills Have Eyes, the original Hills Have Eyes, which I alluded to earlier when I was mentioning that, the remake that Alejandro Anja did.
Yeah.
The original was done by Wes Craven. So, he's, again, can't talk about awesome horror directors without mentioning him for sure.
No, Wes Craven, he's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if I had to pick who was going to be my favorite directors, and I have to say happy birthday to him today too, but it would be Rob Zombie, man.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, Rob Zombie. Today is his birthday. And dude, there are just so many movies. You got House of a Thousand Corpses, and then you have The Devil's Rejects, Three from Hell, and then you've got
31.
yeah, 31 is on there. You got Lords of Salem, you got Halloween. He redid Halloween, which some people don't like, but man, I liked it. I thought he did a great job. I liked how they showed more about Michael Myers, the young Michael Myers. And part two was part two. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Part two was part two. He really didn't want to do that one, but they offered him money, so he did it. But
Right.
I thought he did a good job remaking Halloween. But to me, my favorite director, my favorite horror movie of all time is House of a Thousand Corpses. Just because there's so much reality to that, how it's back in the time when Texas Chainsaw was going on too, but
Yeah.
they're just want to don't go down the backwoods and veer off trail. But I say that they were going around the countryside looking for
Just gonna say
odd, weird stuff, and they found Captain Spaulding's museum, and that's what you and I are getting ready to start doing, going around to. Well, I
I
don't know
was
how much
just
you want to, but I'm going to drag you out there.
I was just thinking that as soon as you were like, just don't go off and do these things. And I'm like, we just had a meeting before the show where that's all the meeting was about is going off and doing these things.
Well,
Oh, well, hey, well,
it'll be fun. I doubt we'll get killed. I doubt.
I doubt it. Doubt it, right? Let's
Yeah.
say let it happen. No, well, obviously he's a great choice, man, on that one. Rob Zombie, he did. He's definitely made his stamp. He's got the new Monsters coming out, and then he's having a day of recording. It is his
Yep.
birthday, so happy birthday to
Yeah.
Mr. Zombie.
They released a picture from on set, and that's all they did today. I know you and I were talking, wondering if they were going to drop a trailer, but they did put a new picture out, so it was a little something.
There you go. A little something there then. Well, we do wish him happy birthday.
Yeah.
For me, man, there's still one that I'm going to mention, and I don't know if I'm going to mention him yet or not, because he might be my favorite because of just of the body of work that he's done, and those movies have really, I've enjoyed them. So I'm going to mention somebody else first, who I think really does need a mention in this list. Mike Flanagan. He has done some. He did Oculus. He did
Oculus.
Hush. He did Ouija, Origin of Evil, which was a sequel to Ouija, which actually did a fantastic job of being better. Most sequels aren't better than the first. This one was better, and then he's also contributed to some great streaming shows, Haunting of Hill House, and also Midnight Mass, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And then Stephen King has pretty much handpicked him to do a lot of work with. He's done Gerald's Game. It was
a good movie.
It was. He did Doctor Sleep, the sequel to The Shining. So just I don't. He's done just in a short amount of time, relatively short amount of time, has really done a lot of great work in horror.
Yeah. Good choice.
Yeah.
I didn't know his name. I know the movies, but I didn't know his name.
Yeah, he's great, man. I've really enjoyed it. Like I was raving a few months ago about Midnight Mass. Like I said, I thought that was fantastic. So
yeah,
if you haven't checked that out, but he's got a great body of work.
Did he do Haunting of Bly Manor?
He did that as well. Yep, okay. I left that one out.
Yeah.
Okay. He did. I haven't seen that one. But I can't speak on that.
I thought it was better
before than the
Haunted
Hill House.
Yeah, I did. You'll like it. You'll have to check it out.
Yeah, for some reason I missed that one in between his two streaming shows with Hill House, and then I skipped that one and went right to Midnight Mass. But I'll have to check it out.
Well, who was your favorite on the list?
Favorite? All right. Yeah. Well, then I will go. My favorite man is going to be James Wan.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about James Wan.
I mean, only because Saw movies, I'm not a big fan of the torture porn, but I really enjoyed the story. I mean, it was terrible serial killer, but just the way they would build on each other, and then take a minor character who maybe had a few lines in the previous movie, now the central character. You know what I mean? And the way they would allude to things in the background, that's just the way it was so well done. Yeah. And I just admired that. I thought it was just a really well, again, it was a terrible story, but it was a really well done story. And you take all that gore out of there,
but
leave
that in there.
But it was just really good. And then oh my gosh, the Insidious films, those are PG-13. and they were still terrifying.
Yeah, they are
Those
scary.
were some really good horror films, man. And
Hmm.
then The Conjuring, the first two Conjuring films were fantastic. So and then he did Malignant. I know a lot of people are torn on that. That was his most recent one. And then, outside of the horror, he did Aquaman, and he's doing the sequel to Aquaman. You guys know I
Oh, I
love that
knew it.
stuff too,
Had to be
you
something.
know. But no, but it's really because take the Aquaman movies out of it. All of that work I just mentioned, to me, those are some really good horror films. Some of the best
Yeah,
horror films I feel like I've seen in the
yeah,
past few years.
I
So
agree.
that's why he's kind of skyrocketed. Because you got John Carpenter, right? I mentioned him. I love him, but then he's got that his '90s work doesn't hold up to me. Wes Craven did People Under the Stairs,
Mhm.
and and maybe you love, maybe we've already discussed that. Maybe you love that film. You know what I mean? Maybe you think it's
Nah,
good.
I saw that in the theater. Nah.
I did too in Charlottesville Theater.
Mm.
What do you know? That's where I saw. you know. And then there's some other guys that are great directors. Love their work that also have some flops. To me, James Wan doesn't have that one
No,
that
I have
to
to agree
me
with you. They're all good
that came out
movies.
and flopped.
And
So
well, we just talked about last week. We were talking about let's see, Salem's Lot is going to be directed by Gary Dauberman, and he was the guy that wrote the Annabelle movies, The Nun, It, and all that stuff. But this is his first directing,
okay,
and I'm looking forward to that because I think well, I don't think I'm anxious to see if he if he can bring that movie to life, uh, not only as a director but being like the screenplay writer too. You know what I mean?
right,
I
yeah,
wonder how I'm anxious to see that one. I really
okay,
am. But
yeah.
I
I think
agree,
that'll be good.
James Wan's name is up there at the top of the list too.
Yeah, to me, like I said, some great directors on there. I've loved a lot of their work, but he's just pretty much just been. He hasn't had a miss yet.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't credit. I can't fault him for Conjuring 3. He didn't direct that, so that was at least my favorite of those three. It's still a good movie, but it just wasn't as terrifying as
yeah.
the other two.
Were you talking about the newest one? Oh, I
Yeah,
like that. I liked it.
it was good, but it wasn't as terrifying as the other ones, and he didn't direct it, so I can't
Right, right. Yeah,
fault
yeah, yeah.
him. Yeah, man. So that's just a little bit of the films we wanted to share. Some of the movies, some of our favorite directors. Is there anybody else? Did we miss anyone that you could think of?
No, not offhand. I think we got it pretty good.
Yeah, I'm surprised though. I will say that George Romero didn't make your
Well,
list.
I name more than two of the movies of his that you would watch.
There you go. See, okay, that's why he didn't
But
make my list too. I guess you're
but
right.
I mean, I could have put it. He was up there with like Eli Roth. But I do. I like George A. Romero. I like him. Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead, and then after that,
But you have to credit him because he basically created or defined, I
yeah,
guess would be the word, what the cinematic zombie was. You
yes,
know what I mean? Without his, I don't know if they're portrayed, and that's all the only way they've been portrayed since, except for the fast zombies. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
Which
other
we
than
don't
that,
like
that's kind of
those.
he set the
We don't want
stage.
the fast zombies. We want the slow zombies. And I'd rather have them like George A. Romero's, where you can just like walk by and like push them over.
Right, right. I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you on that, my friend. Well, guys, that's it then. We did want to mention there's a couple great trailers that just dropped. Actually, one that looks really interesting would be the one. Oh my gosh, what is it called? Help
The
me
Foo
out.
Fighters movie.
Yes, the Foo Fighters movie. But is it
Yeah,
called?
it's something 666. Studio 666.
Yeah, Studio 666.
Yeah.
That does look funny. It's funny that he actually did that movie because I guess I've heard him on Howard Stern recently over the past couple of years. He's told that story before about, I think they were making the Nirvana album though, or maybe it was the Foo Fighters album, where they've been in a house and he felt like that house was haunted.
Yeah. Yeah.
He never once alluded to this. They were making this movie. This movie is pretty much a surprise for everyone. I think that is coming out.
It was for
But
me.
yeah, yeah, but it looks great. Looks obviously there's going to be some great comedy in it. But
Put
I
a little
bet you there's going to be
scares
some
in
good,
it, but
yeah,
Dave
some good.
Grohl is a he's funny anyway, man. If you look at a
Yeah,
bunch of his videos, he's hysterical. But
yeah,
I like Dave Grohl, the person, man. He's a really good guy too. You know what I mean?
he
In
is.
real life, he's a good guy.
Yeah, yeah, local dude from here in
Yeah,
Northern Virginia.
yeah.
Yeah, so that movie looks funny, man. It does. Or I said that for a horror film, but it does. It does look funny. It looks some great laughs and then some also. I bet you there'll be some good scares. Looks like he's
Hmm.
been possessed by whatever's in the house.
Yeah.
So it's going to be good stuff. And then we had another trailer that dropped today called X, which is by Ty West, who did House of the Devil and Innkeepers. And if you guys have not seen House of the Devil, I think it's a pretty good horror flick.
I haven't
Check it out.
seen that one, man. I'll have to check it out.
Check it out. Let me know what you think, Jason. We'll maybe
Is it
you can share.
scary or is it like a thriller?
It's
Not
scary.
Michael Jackson's Thriller, like a
Yeah, I know there's some great dance scenes in there.
there
Werewolf
was.
scenes, dance
That was
scenes. No,
scary
no.
back in the day.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, oh no, it's a horror film. Check it
Okay.
out. Check it out if you. I can't believe you haven't seen it. It's got some great horror icons in it as well. Um, from people you'll recognize. The actor and the actress escape me right now, but you'll definitely recognize them. Check it out.
Okay. All right.
Oh, Tom Noonan is one of the guys he played the original it just popped in. He played the original Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter before they redid it with and then another lady, Mary Warrenoff, who is another great as soon as you see her, you'll know who she is. She's been in some other
Okay.
horror films from the 70s. But I say all that to say this guy just had a new movie drop today called X, or trailer drop today called X. It looks pretty crazy. Jason, why don't you tell us what the premise of the film is?
Well, from what I've seen, it looks like they are renting a barn or some kind of building from some old farmer or something, and um, I think they're shooting porno flicks in the barn. That's what I get from the trailer. That they're like, he doesn't have a clue that what we're doing, so they're going to shoot some porno flicks. But there's something crazy going on with the guy's wife, like the old farmer's wife or something like that. And it looks pretty scary. Looks
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it does. It does. I'll
Yeah.
definitely be checking that out because
Late night Skinamax meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's what it looked like.
where can you go wrong? Where can you
Hey,
go wrong?
they're going
You
to make
know,
some money.
exactly, for sure. I'm sure it will. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys. Well, listen, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you very much for joining us yet again. If you haven't checked out some of these directors, check them out. There's some great horror films that they've done. So you'll be in for a good scare if you're looking for something
Yeah,
like that.
I agree. A lot of movies between those guys too. Whole
Oh, for
lot.
sure, man, for sure.
Keep you
Well,
busy for Snow Apocalypse too.
once you're done with the BT Haunts movies, for
Yeah,
sure.
after the BT
BT
Hunt stuff.
Productions, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure, for sure. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining us again. We appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts. Hit the like button, share if you would, and we will catch you on the next episode. Jason, nice talking to you, my friend.
Yeah, Lee. See you next time, man.
Later.